What is up, YouTube? Game888 here with Testhand video number 3 for you guys. Now, the only thing that I've changed since the last video, I do believe, is that I've cut down one Darkworm. Might seem weird. I'm only running one Darkworm and one Gate 0 right now. But actually it's been working out in tournaments, online, stuff like that. And I actually think it's kinda cool how it actually works out. Since I'm playing 48 now, 48 cards, I'm not really seeing that much of an impact. I just draw my Dragon Shrines and my Foolishes just as much. The only thing is I hardly ever see my Darkworm, and if I do need it, I still have Magical Abductor to search it out anyways. So right now I'm only playing one Darkworm, and it's actually been pretty cool in tournaments, because without it, like, you're not having another brick in your hand, because the Darkworm in your hand, for this deck it's a brick, because you want to normal summon your Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, the blue boy. So you can't really use the Darkworm as a normal summon, and it's actually kind of sad. If you really want it, you can always search it out. I'm not playing the Cast Dragon engine, so it's not really a problem. So yeah, I'm playing 48 instead of 49. It doesn't do much for consistency, but it does do a little bit at the very least. It's another less monster, so I have more chances to see my spell cards, so that's at least a thing. And let's get into it. So the first hand is Jackal King, Engage, Time Gazer, Knowledge, and Shark Cannon. And this actually, ladies and gentlemen, is a total brick. It does happen, but let's see what we can get out of it, because we're definitely going to do some things at the very least, and we're going to see what we're going to get. So in this scenario, we can't do anything else but to activate our Engage first. If they ash it, and then our hand is totally fucked up, so yeah. At that point you can still go Shark Cannon and to banish something from the opponent during their turn, so maybe if you're up against Orcus you can still have your turn. But yeah, let's see what we can do. I'm gonna go with Hornet Drones because we need a monster. Like with this hand, what we need to do is to get off our Knowledge, and that's going to be a really important factor. So yeah, let's see what we're going to get. So first things first, I'm gonna go Hornet Drones, I'm gonna get a token. And then I'm gonna go straight into Kagari. And now you can do one of two things. You can add back the Hornet Drones and activate it so you can go into Hida like that. Or you can just, because we have a normal summon in the Time Gazer and we already have the Knowledge, so we're not going to normal summon the Blue Boy, we can get back the Engage, hope for some good draws from the Knowledge, so we can actually start plussing off the Engage. So that's exactly what we're going to do, and we're going to add the Engage. We're going to normal summon the Time Gazer, and we're going to go into our Hida. Now, Hida is actually a fun addition to the extra deck, because if the opponent has a thing like an Ash Blossom somewhere, you can special summon it and continue your plays further. I had been thinking about actually playing Sunlight, the Heat Leo, the Link 3 from Salamangreat, because it only requires 2 fires, and if you make this, thanks to the Kagari combination, you can actually summon an Ash Blossom from the opponent, and you can go into the Heat Leo and bounce one of your opponent's cards. So that's also a thing, but in general it wasn't worth it. So right now we're going to go Knowledge, we're going to tribute the Hida, and we're going to draw 2 cards. We're getting the Magical Abductor and a Servant. Getting Servant here is actually quite decent. We're not going to get into a 3rd spell card, unless the opponent had done something, but yeah, it's just how it is. What we can do, however, is we're going to get off our Pendulum Summon, and we're going to get into Electromite. This only works if the opponent doesn't have any hand traps, by the way. The hand was a total brick, but we can actually do something. So we're going to go Servant. We're going to go Abductor. We have no choice at this point, we need to. So we're going to go Engage. Which is sad because we only had 2 spells, but at the very least we can still do something. So yeah, I'm going to add the multi-roll. The reason for it is because the multi-roll is an additional spell you can activate at any scenario. Don't forget we've scaled the abductor, so the servant is now at 2 and the abductor is at 1. We're going to activate the multi-roll, bring the servant to 3, and the abductor to 2. So now we're going to use the servant's effect, special summoning it with a counter. And we're going to summon anything else but the Jackal King right now, because we can't afford it. The hand was just too bad, so right now we're going to go into the Master of Magic. And with these two we're going to go into our Electromite. So Electromite is coming up. With Electromite's effect, we're going to... I have to look at this. I'm going to add... Well, we've already had the Time Gazer, so that kind of sucks. Putting the Endymion in the scale again could be a thing, but I don't really want that. I'm gonna go for the Dragon Pit Magician right here, because I actually have an idea that might work. So, Dragon Pit. And I'm gonna be greedy. I really want to draw from Electromite. So I'm gonna go and scale up the Jackal King. I'm going to use the Electromite's effect. I'm gonna pop the Jackal King and get back the Dragon Pit. Of course, scaling the Jackal King will give a third counter to the Abductor. And now we're having a Dragon Pit in our hand. And then with the draw from Electromite, we're getting an Allure of Darkness. Right here, I really don't have to use the Allure anymore. We can use the Abductor's effect, and we're going to get and add ourselves a Harmonizing Magician. So right now, scale up the Dragon Pit. This gets us a counter on our Abductor. See? And at the very least, we'll have one counter up. I really wanted the second one. I don't think I can get to a second counter. Unless by activating the Allure of Darkness. In this scenario you can still fear Nibiru, because we've went in 1, 2, 3, 4... Well, we've already done more than 5 summons, so if they had Nibiru, they are probably keeping it for the Jackal King. For the Pendulum summon. I should probably risk it. Oh my god. If they have anything in their grave, you can just try and banish it with Shark Cannon, get your second counter that way. But I just have to risk it, because if they have Nibiru, you lose. So we're going to draw 2. And there isn't a Dark in, so the Harmonizing is going to get banished, which is a sad thing. Because I was going to try and use the Harmonize. Well, let's just not do the Allure, because I really want to show that the combo why I picked the Dragon Pit Magician as well. So I'm just gonna Pendulum Summon, I really don't care anymore. So I'm going to summon out... Well, the Jackal King isn't live anyway, so I'm gonna summon these two and the Harmonizing. Harmonizing's effect is going to trigger. And I'm going to summon Purple Poison. Using these two for Meteor Burst. Meteor Burst effect, target the Dragon Pit. Overlay into Absolute. And right now, you can actually use the Purple Poison, which gets banished, the Electromite and the Absolute, and go into Appaloosa, which will trigger the Absolute, and we are getting a Vortex Dragon as well. Now, it isn't as terrible as it seems. If the opponent didn't have any hand traps, we at least end on a 5 negate board. The hand was abysmal. I can't say anything less about it. I totally bricked. Any hand trap would have killed it, I'm not gonna lie. But at the very least you can see what the deck can still do if the opponent doesn't have hand traps, and it does happen. I mean, the most common hand traps that the players are using these days are Ash Blossom, Phantasme, and DD Crow. Ash Blossom on the engage would have hurt like immensely. I have to say it as it is. But there's always a chance that they're keeping the Ash Blossom as well. Apart from that, like the Phantasme and the DD Crow wouldn't have done anything in this scenario. Maybe like the DD Crow on the engage ad could have hurt as well. So that's the thing. But the Phantasme wouldn't have hurt as much. So at the very least we have that. But yeah, that kind of was a total brick. So. I'm always sad if I see more than 2 of the bricks in my hand. You play like 3 offs of the non-bricks and then 1 off of the bricks, and you see the bricks. I'm happy if I see 2 or less. So yeah. But let's see. Second hand. Let's go for it. At the very least, we still ended on 5 negate. So and you got to see how I play it. So yeah, second hand, Harmonizing, Abductor, Mastery. These 2 cards alone are already better than the previous hand. Upstart and Servant. That's actually we can do some real work with this. So first things first, Servant into Mastery, getting. I'm gonna go get the Magister. So, Magister, there we go. This puts 2 counters on the Servant. Right now, Upstart Goblin, we're gonna draw a card. And it's a Spellbook Magician of Prophecy. That's wow. Right at this moment, gonna use the Servant. I'm going to special summon it. Alongside the Jackal King from the deck. There we go. Normal summoning the Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, using its effect, adding secrets. Now at this point I want to go Abductor first, Magister second, giving a counter to the Abductor. The reason for it is if we use Electromite, we want to use it on the Abductor most of the time, so we want to trigger its Surge effect as soon as possible. We've activated 2 scales, which means that Jackal King's at 5 already. Using the secrets, getting knowledge. Adding more counters to our Jackal King. So it's 7. And 2 on the Abductor and 1 on the Magister. Now the counters are getting real big, so I'm gonna go with knowledge. Going to tribute the Magician of Prophecy. We're going to draw 2 cards. Its Duelist Alliance and Abductor is actually decent. So at this very point we're already at a whole lot of counters. We're going to use the Abductor's effect and we're going to search. So let's see. Summon 3 times now. The Electromite would be the 4th summon, so I don't need to fear Nibiru. Technically there isn't anything in the game right now except for Impermanence that people would be playing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to already search for the Garuda. In case they summon Phantasme, I can actually trigger the Garuda already, bouncing back the Phantasme as well, if need be. I don't think I'd do that, but it is an option. So at this point, we're gonna make Electromite. So Electromite's effect is going to trigger. And the thing I want to do is I just want to get back the Abductor. It's actually a good card, and we can just trigger it again. So we can send to our extra deck whatever we want. It is going to be something that we can Pendulum Summon, and I'm going to go for the Dark Worm. It might seem a weird thing to actually send the Dark Worm right here, but it gives us another plus for a possible next turn, so yeah. So right here we're going to use Electromite, we're going to pop the Abductor, and we're going to add the Abductor back. We don't need to add the Abductor back, I mean, we already have another Abductor, so that's actually a fun thing. Huh. I didn't see that one coming. I'm going to add back the Dark Worm. Just because it's easy. I'm going to draw a card from Electromite, and it's the Big Endymion, so that's actually a good one. We're going to scale up the Abductor, giving a third counter to our Magister. And because we want to be safe for a possible Nibiru play, we're going to already use the Magister's effect. And we're going to summon it with one counter. Where are my counters? And alongside the Jackal King from the extra deck. So we're going to summon the Jackal King all the way in the other corner. This is actually a really safe play right now. And because we already use the Electromite, what I'm going to... Am I going to do that? It does seem tempting. I'm going to put the Jackal King here in the middle. The reason is you'll see it soon. So I'm gonna go with Duelist Alliance, and we're going to add Pendulum Call to our hand. This gives a counter to our Abductor, and 2 more to our Jackal King. So it's a 3. Now these counters on the Jackal King are going to be really important this time because we already have the Endymion. So we're going to use Pendulum Call, and I'm going to ditch the Dark Worm for possible future plays. Does seem cool to ditch it, so... And I'm going to search for Dragon Pit and Oath Dragon, because they are actually the real good ones. And we already have the Harmonizing, and we can special the purple from its effect, so it's really good. Getting a second counter on our Abductor, getting 2 more on the Jackal King. Right now, going to scale up the Endymion, bring us to 3 on the Abductor, bringing us on 7 on the Jackal King. I'm going to use the Abductor's effect. I'm going to search for another card. Let's see. I'm gonna search for Chronograph, because Chronograph gives us yet another special summon somewhere in the turn. And right now I'm going to use the Endymion's effect. I'm going to get rid of 6 counters from my Jackal King. I'm going to special summon it. So at this point it's on the field, and I really want to give this counter, and I have enough cards in my hand, so I'm going to pop the Abductor. So this gives a counter to our Endymion, which is actually really important. Right now we can go and make Appaloosa on this side of the board. And we already have 3 monster negates on the field with 1 spell negate. This is actually coming in real good. I'm going to scale up the Oath Dragon. I'm going to scale up the Chronograph. This actually makes sure that I can Pendulum Summon. And I'm going to Pendulum Summon, of course, from the extra deck. I'm going to summon out a Jackal King, I really want to summon 2 level 4s to make a Dweller, but I also want to summon... Well, y'all might think this is kind of a weird play, but I'm still going to go for it. I'm going to go for Magister of Endymion, and then from the hand I'm going to go with the Harmonizing. Harmonizing's effect is going to trigger. Do I actually have enough resources for the Magister I'm gonna get 2 more, so that's only 3. I'm not gonna have too much resources in spell department, so what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to I'm going to summon out 2 Abductors, and I'm going to summon out the Harmonizing without using the effect for a purple poison. Right now, I'm going to overlay 2 Abductors, and I'm going to make Dweller. And then I'm going to use the Chronographs effect, summoning the Time Gazer. And instead of going for the Meteor Burst play this time around, because I can actually go for Absolute, which is really good. So let's see. Scaling the Dragon Pit Magician. I still don't have any Magicians in the extra deck. I really don't care. So I'm gonna go and Synchro Summon. I could go for Draxa here, just ending it on. Yeah, this got 2 more counters. Just ending it on 4 monster negates, 2 spell negates, and a Dweller. But special summon Pancratops and ram over the Appaloosa is actually a big ass problem in today's metagame, so I'm gonna go for the Meteor Burst. I'm going to use this effect, summon the Dragon Pit, and I'm going to overlay for Absolute. Now you might think that because I have the Garuda in my hand, that Pancratops isn't a problem, but if I use the Garuda, I have to use all the counters I have on my field, so that's 3. And by then I just lose out on 2 negates to stop 1 Pancratops anyways, and I don't really want that. The way it happens right now is if they summon Pancratops and they try to attack over the Appaloosa, I'll just negate with the Absolute, and I'll special summon the Meteor Burst back. And because I special summon the Meteor Burst back, my opponent can't use monster effects during the battle phase, so they'll just have to wait out until after main phase, after the battle phase, so they can't evenly as well. If they chain the Pancratops effect to the Absolute, then I still have the Appaloosa and the Jackal King for negates. So yeah, that's always a thing. And I have Dweller, so that's actually a really good field right now. That's going to be it for this video. I know it's only 2 test hands, but I have some more stuff to do at home. So I really have to get going for that. And I'm going to see you guys tomorrow in the next test hand video. I'm going to try and do one every day of the week. So let's stay tuned for that, and I hope it works out. So yeah, see you guys.